Kylie Jenner has had some big controversies in the short amount of time that she has been a celebrity, from Kylie Cosmetics being accused of running sweatshops to sitting in a golden wheelchair for a photo shoot. Coming in number 10, swimwear scam. Kylie Jenner's new swimwear line received a ton of backlash from her own fans, with many taking to TikTok to complain about getting scammed. The 24-year-old billionaire business mogul released her new line of swimwear and was quick to promote it on her social media, resulting in many styles selling out fast. Unfortunately, a lot of buyers started to have buyer's remorse after receiving their orders. TikTok specifically was flooded with videos of people giving Kylie's swimwear a bad review. Many were upset over the poor quality of the pieces and even described them as being so thin that you could practically see through it. One reviewer said that they shelled out $250 on 2 sarongs, a pink 2-piece, and a yellow cutout monokini, but then said, "I would show you these, but I literally can't because they are just not it." The sizing, she explained, was perfect, but despite being fully aware there was no padding, the material was so flimsy it just shows everything. Not a good look. Coming in number 9, the stripper pole. According to Kylie Jenner herself, one of her most embarrassing moments in her career as a celebrity really happened during the filming of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. In all fairness though, she was 10 years old when the show premiered, so a lot of her behavior could be attributed to just immaturity. In one of the earlier episodes, Kylie caused a major controversy when she was filmed spinning around on a stripper pole in Kris Jenner's bedroom. Reflecting on that episode to E! News, she said, "The stripper pole was so embarrassing, I wish it never happened." However, the reason she found this to be so embarrassing was due to how the world at large reacted to it. Coming number 8, bad tipper. Not only was Kylie Jenner accused of scamming her own fans, but she has also come under fire for being a terrible tipper as well. There have been 2 angry waitstaff members that exposed Kylie for leaving bad tips. One was a claim from a server in New York City who said, "She was fine, but she tipped $20 on a $500 bill. Do with that information what you will." With another claiming that they received a $2 tip from Jenner after delivering a $250 order to her home. I genuinely think that most celebrities just do not understand how the tipping process works. Although, to be fair, most people that have never worked in the restaurant industry understand how much they should be tipping. I think in North America, at least, the rule is 18% of whatever your final bill is. A lot of servers have to, pay out a certain percentage from their tips that goes to the hostess and sometimes to the line cooks as well. So if you don't tip on your bill, that money is pretty much coming out of the server's pocket. So on that $500 bill, she really should have been tipping about $90, not a $20 bill. Coming number 7, the wheelchair. The golden wheelchair photo shoot from 2015 is perhaps one of the most bizarre choices that Kylie has made. Once those images hit social media, there were thousands of intense reactions from people who reported being discriminated against because of their disability. One of the ones that went viral was from 17-year-old Ophelia Brown, who shared a photo of herself next to Kylie Jenner and said, "Kylie Jenner, wow, being in a wheelchair is so fun and fashionable. Ableism is the ultimate fashion statement." And when speaking to the press about how this Kylie photo shoot made her feel, Ophelia went on to say, "When I first saw the picture, my response was that I didn't think she fully understand what a wheelchair was. A wheelchair is a big part of my life, and she seemed to be sitting on it for fun or to look more edgy and cool. I felt overwhelmed with annoyance and jealousy that she could just get in and out of a wheelchair." In at number 6, fake activism. I don't know if she just didn't think this one through all the way or what, but man does it look bad. Kylie took to her Instagram stories about the devastating wildfires in Australia that completely wrecked their country and their wildlife and said, "Over 500 million animals have been killed in Australia. This breaks my heart." However, later on, she posted this other Instagram story of her wearing mink slippers, and which then, of course, led to people calling her out for completely contradicting her earlier statement. Although I don't think they realize that Kylie Jenner probably doesn't care. She posted about the Australia wildfires because every other celebrity was also doing that. Regardless, one user writes, "She's out of touch with reality. Where does she think mink comes from?" In at number 5, disturbing photos. While promoting her Nightmare on Elm Street collection that features Freddy Krueger-inspired makeup, Jenner shocked and angered a lot of her fans. Kylie is expecting her second child with Travis Scott, and because she is expecting another child, this enraged people on the internet even more. She began promoting this Halloween line with various posts that all carried a heavy red theme. It started with a promo video that shows fake blood washing over Kylie's body while 1-2 Freddy's Coming For You plays in the background. The conspiratorial comments started really flowing on that video and just carried over to her next promotional post. For example, the comments that said, "This is sick and that's not a compliment," with another adding, "Adrenochrome?" Other than these types of comments that think every celebrity is the Illuminati, the rest of her comments seem to be split on the matter. I saw many supportive comments on Jenner's collaboration, but there were an equal amount of people that really did not care for it. Some called it disturbing, while others said that it was so horrifying that she needed to repent. A lot of people thought it was just distasteful because she was pregnant, which did become another focus of backlash. One person wrote about how if someone was recovering from a miscarriage, they would find this to be very daunting to look at, with another adding that on Mental Health Awareness Awareness Day, this was the last thing that they expected to see in their feeds. In at number 4, Kylie Cosmetics sweatshop. Back in April of 2016, around the time of the Kylie Cosmetics launch, many workers in her factories took to social media to expose the awful working conditions. The employees based out of a lab in Oxnard, California, described working as if it were sweatshop conditions, meaning long hours, early days, an unclean work environment, and too many people all working in the same area. One former employee even alleged that she fell ill after accidentally inhaling the makeup products. The production worker went on to claim, long hours, no home life, was only provided with a lab coat, hairnet, and safety glasses, no benefits. While the workers said they loved to see how makeup was made from start to finish, they claimed the makeup particles made me cough and sick. Coming in at number 3, Blackfishing. After posting a video to her Instagram stories of her listening to music in her car, many people took notice of Kylie's skin color looking a little darker than normal. The term blackfishing is used to describe people who attempt to masquerade as black or even mixed race, and in some cases uses to increase profits from the adopted masquerade while being white the whole time. One user was so shocked by it, they said that it looked like she was wearing the Fenty makeup foundation shade 420. Another user decided to come at the entire Kardashian Jenner clan and tweeted, "How many times we gotta reiterate that the Jenner daughters are just white, mayo white, not a bit of ethnic white. Kris and Caitlyn are straight up great. Kylie's blackfishing is even more egregious because she is as white can be," adding, "At least the other 3 have an Armenian dad as leverage. Kylie has no ground to stand on, and I'm tired of them telling us her lips don't have permanent fillers and that she just overdraws them." Coming number 2, the heel incident. After Kendall, Kylie, and Kris Jenner's boyfriend Corey Gamble ended up in the same car after being out on the town for a night of partying with the whole family, things began to escalate. Kylie refused to have the driver drop Kendall off at her house, which according to Kylie was out of the way. Kendall, who claimed she was sober at the time, said that Kylie smacked her, but not hard, and in return, Kendall flailed back, striking Kylie in the face. From there, the situation got really ugly. Kylie seemed to have been getting more and more intoxicated since the dinner started, and by the night's end, the lights were on, but no one was home. Kendall said that after she hit Kylie, her sister then took the heel of her shoe and pressed it into Kendall's neck. From there, the two apparently just began kicking each other repeatedly in the car, and as the fight continued to escalate, Mr. Gamble did his best to try to calm them down. Unfortunately, though, to no avail. Kendall would actually end up later accusing him of cursing at her during the fight. According to Chloe, there was already tension when the night started because Kendall didn't come to the drag show. Chloe said that it felt like the tension between Kylie and Kendall had been building and building, so it just happened to boil over when they got into that car together. In at our number 1 spot, filming Afterworld tragedy. Kylie Jenner being in attendance at the Astroworld festival during all of the mayhem was one thing. However, the single moment that ruined her career, in our opinion, was when she uploaded a video of an ambulance trying to make its way through the crowd. That video was deleted soon after she realized the severity of the situation, but at that point it was pretty much the beginning of the end. Now she can't even really post anymore on her Instagram without getting some sort of extreme backlash in the comments for being insensitive. So with that, her Kylie brand will certainly take a hit just from this single moment. Kris Jenner is in crisis mode right now and fears that Kylie Jenner may lose millions of dollars from her various brands following this Travis Scott Astroworld tragedy. According to reports coming out this morning, Kris Jenner is in crisis mode because she is worried that Kylie stands to lose millions of dollars from her beauty lines. As you all know, last Friday, Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival turned into a mass casualty event that left 8 people deceased and hundreds more with serious injuries. Following this event, Kylie and Travis faced a ton of backlash for how things were being handled. People were critical of Travis for not ending his set earlier, and even more furious with Kylie Jenner, who recorded an ambulance driving through the crowd in front of her. A source close to the Kardashians told the press, "Kylie feels the weight of this and more than anything wants to do right by the victims. I know people do not think she cares, but she really does. At the same time, she's a businesswoman responsible for the livelihood of a lot of people. She feels like she's in a lose-lose situation because she wants to take time to respect the victims from Afterworld, but at the same time, she employs a lot of people." You see, if Kylie just starts posting about her various beauty brands this close to the tragedy, she could risk taking a huge hit to her brand, but at the same time, the only way her products move is through her social media posts. So it's a bit of a catch-22. She's going to see sales dip off if she doesn't promote them, and if she does promote them, she'll have to deal with more angry people calling her insensitive. This source continued by saying, "The longer her companies go without being active on social media or promotion, the more sales go down and the less they make from marketing. We're talking potentially millions of dollars in losses." And according to reports, Kylie makes over $1 million per Instagram post, and she's typically posting posting every day, if not more. But let's say she only posts once a day. With no posts since last Friday, she's already looking at a loss of at least $6 million. This source also claimed that Kris and Kylie are now working cautiously on how they are going to be moving forward. They go on to say, she feels a responsibility as a brand founder, but she also knows the second that they do post something business related, people will be upset she's moved on and doing self-promotion after this tragedy. So she does feel that lose-lose in a sense. She's working closely with her mom as both her manager, but she's also leaning on her for emotional support. Kris is in crisis mode and still figuring out how to handle this best. Now, I for one am always a little suspicious whenever a source starts speaking on a situation like this. If you're not going to tell us who you are, how can we really trust this information? And turns out we really can't. A representative for Kylie responded to these claims and said that this information was incorrect, but they also neglected to correct anything that was said, so there's also that. Sources aside though, we already know that Kylie Swim was not performing well and had its own controversies before all of this even happened. So with a new brand that's not being promoted, this will certainly be a test to see if Kylie's products can withstand more controversy and even less promotion. Brands typically have to post multiple times a day to just drive sales to their website and depend on engagement to have their posts do well. However, all of her brand accounts have shut off comments and haven't been posting at all. Following news of the tragedy, Kylie released this statement that said, "Travis and I are broken and devastated. My thoughts and prayers are with all who lost their lives, were injured, or affected in any way by yesterday's events. And also for Travis, who I know cares deeply for his fans and the Houston community. I want to make it clear we weren't aware of any fatalities until the news came out after the show, and in no world would have continued filming or performing. I am sending my deepest condolences to all of the families during this difficult time and will be praying for the healing of everyone who has been impacted."
And regardless, it's clear that for years the Jenners have been lying.
Back in 2019, Forbes announced that Kylie was officially the world's youngest self-made billionaire. And even though the company got a ton of backlash for saying that she was self-made when she was born into a wealthy family, they stuck by their position. But since Kylie sold 51% of her business to Coty, which is a public company, the truth is finally coming out about her financials. And now Forbes has taken back her billionaire status, saying that they were duped in her web of lies. So on May 29th, Forbes' Chase Peterson Withorn and Madeline Berg reported that they believed Kylie had been lying about her fortune for years. And this video is almost entirely based off of the findings in their article. This all started in January of 2020 when Kylie sold 51% of her cosmetics business to beauty giant Coty for $600 million, which valued her company at $1.2 billion, and shut down any skepticism that the company was not worth over $1 billion. But now that Coty is releasing their public records for their shareholders, the truth is finally coming out, and it's looking like Kylie's business is significantly smaller and less profitable than the family has spent years leading everyone to believe. Kylie claimed to Forbes that in the business's first 18 months, it made $400 million, and Kylie took home $250 million of that money. And when Forbes asked for proof, they gave it, showing Kylie's and the business's tax returns that confirmed their numbers. But Forbes was still skeptical, so they placed her much lower on their celebrity list than Kylie wanted, coming in at 27th on their list of richest self-made women back in 2018. Then sometime later, at age 20, Forbes estimated she was worth $900 million and soon would become the youngest self-made billionaire ever. But they still had some skepticism. But then when Coty's deal came around, Forbes' suspicions subsided, as this was clear proof that she was a billionaire. But as Coty's numbers came out is when Forbes began to believe that Coty potentially overpaid for the deal, and they may have been duped by Kylie and her team as well, as revenues were proven to only be $177 million in the 12 months before the deal, far lower than what Forbes had been told before. And then Coty claimed that the sales were up 40% from 2018, meaning that back in 2018, sales were only $125 million that year, nowhere close to the $360 million that the Jenners had led Forbes to believe. And then Kylie's Skin was claimed to have made $100 million in revenue in its first month and a half, but the actual filings showed it was only on track to finish the year with $25 million in sales. Then this all made Forbes come to the conclusion that her brand was not high growth as Coty had anticipated, and the business was actually shrinking over time, with online e-commerce site Rakuten suggesting that there was a 62% decline in Kylie's online sales between 2016 and 2018, which is huge obviously. Taking all this new data into consideration and the global pandemic affecting her business as well, Forbes now says that Kylie is not actually a billionaire, but of course her fortune is still massive, with their current calculation being around $900 million. And even with Coty buying a percentage for $600 million, Kylie herself actually received a lot less of that money for herself than she wants everyone to believe. And since Forbes dropped this scathing piece, Kylie has commented on Twitter with a thread of tweets. Obviously not happy about all this, with the first tweet saying, "What am I even waking up to? I thought this was a reputable site. All I see are a number of inaccurate statements and unproven assumptions, lol. I've never asked for any title or tried to lie my way there, ever. Period." Then another tweet following up saying, quote, "Even creating tax returns that were likely forged. That's your proof? So you just thought they were forged? Like, actually, what am I reading?" Then another, "But okay, I am blessed beyond my years. I have a beautiful daughter and a successful business and I'm doing perfectly fine." Then lastly saying, "I can name a list of 100 things more important right now than fixating on how much money I have." And that's the tweet that I had at the time of recording this video. So it seems like this might not actually be the end of the story after all, and potentially Kylie might come forward with some more documents of her own to refute the allegations in this new Forbes piece.
Kylie and Kendall Jenner are up against some serious claims right now after a factory has exposed them for refusing to pay the factory workers who make the clothes for their clothing line collection. Kendall and Kylie are under fire right now after reports surfaced saying that they have been refusing to pay the factory workers who create garments for their clothing line. Their line, Kendall plus Kylie, is owned by Global Brands Group, and reports are saying they have refused to pay the factory workers since the COVID-19 crisis has caused a reduction in their sales. In March, the CEO of the group said, "Given the unpredictability of the situation, our retail partners have canceled orders, and existing inventory and product in production may have no sell-through. Consequently, we have no choice but to make the difficult decision to cancel all SS 2020 orders from all suppliers without liability." But recent reports from Remake have said that as a result of the company's decision, women who make the clothes have been left in a vulnerable position and are at risk of starving to death. It's literally that bad, you guys. The report included a statement from one of the garment workers in Bangladesh who said, "At the factory gate, they told us to go away, that it was closed because of the virus. When they told us to go back home, I only had $6 left on me." The statement went viral, and people are now taking it to social media to protest for the treatment of these workers, and they are begging the Jenner sisters to take action. Kylie has her own skincare and makeup line and is still promoting her items and even selling masks for the virus. People are furious that she's ordering products for her personal company but refusing to push her clothing line and pay the workers that help their line even exist. Like, realistically, your clothing line does not exist without the people making the clothing. We don't know how much involvement these girls actually have in the company. We just know that they are the face and the name and the model of the clothes. However, it is their name that is representing the brand, so regardless, it's just not a good look. It would be nice to see them still pay these workers even if they aren't working. Cause no offense, but like, we all know you have the money to do that. Kylie is a billionaire. So, or even if they paid the workers to like make fabric face masks and then like donate them to places and people in need, that would be cool. Let me know what you guys think about this. As of right now, both Kendall and Kylie have yet to comment on it. Hopefully with stores starting to reopen right now, the factories might reopen too, and then money can start flowing in for these factory workers.
Recently, Kylie Jenner fans took to TikTok to express how furious they were with her new line of swimwear. Many people harped on how the material felt weak and how the stitching was already coming apart when they opened their delivery. Hundreds of Kylie Jenner fans blasted her swimwear line on TikTok, claiming that not only were the suits of poor quality, but many of them had major sizing issues. Not to mention they were being sold for $80 per item. $80 for poor stitching, paper thin see-through fabric, and ultimately items that weren't sized properly. One TikTok user said that she had purchased all of the one pieces from the collection and was shocked that every single piece did not meet her expectations. She goes on to say, "I got an XL on this one, didn't go over hips, see-through." And the TikTok has been viewed over 630,000 times, liked by more than 35,000 people, and filled with comments like this one that say, Return them all, she could have done way better, with another adding a more interesting point saying, I mean, they all could be from Shein as far as we know. And if you don't know Shein, they're essentially a fast fashion site, so the prices are typically very low because of the poor quality that you're receiving in return, and on top of that, they've been accused of stealing from smaller designers before. They're basically Fashion Nova's direct competitor. The reason I bring this up is because in the past, Kylie has been known to have some eerily similar connections with her merch and other companies. For example, the scandal with her and ColourPop. When she released Kylie Cosmetics, her gloss collection sold out in minutes despite the multiple controversies surrounding her manufacturing process. As fans were hunting for cheaper alternatives to Kylie's lip gloss, they stumbled across ColourPop Cosmetics, and the similarities between the two products were very noticeable. During an exclusive interview with Refinery29, the ColourPop founder shed some light on why their formula was essentially the same as Kylie's. The duo that created ColourPop also created this company called Seed Beauty. Seed Beauty works as an umbrella company where in their laboratory they create cosmetic formulas for ColourPop as well as private label products. Kylie Jenner was brought into the Seed family as part of what they called an incubation program. She would have complete creative control over her product, but she could also use the lab and their company's existing resources. So perhaps the same thing has happened with her new line of swimwear. As I mentioned in my last video, I really doubt that she is on the ground floor of the factory watching them sew every pair. It's most likely the same thing that happened with her lip gloss. She probably just went to a company, gave them some ideas of what she wanted. She doesn't need advertising, just her own Instagram feed, and boom, within a matter of time, her designs are up and ready to buy. It's also the problem with purchasing merch from influencers and celebrities though. You're really only buying it because they are telling you that it's the hot new thing to own, or because you have some idea in your mind that you'll become just like them if you buy their clothes. Chances are they had almost no hand in choosing the quality of their product. They may have designed the logo or the style, but when it comes to quality, there are very few celebrities and influencers that are on the ground floor making sure that all of their products are of the highest quality, which you would think would be the case based on what she's charging for these swimsuits. Alas, it just doesn't work that way. If you're going to buy something from an influencer, I would recommend doing just a little bit of research into the product, or at least checking out some reviews to make sure that it's money well spent. As for scamming her fans, I think her fans feel like they might have gotten scammed by this, but I don't believe Kylie had intentions of scamming her fans. I mean, why would she do that? That would be insane for her to knowingly produce clothing with awful quality to make a quick buck.